Hey there, welcome back to Beacon in the Storm. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today I have a very special guest with us. I have the owner and founder of the Las Vegas television network, Jon Fondy. Hey there, Jon, how's it going?
Hey, it's all Vegas all the time. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. It is an absolute pleasure and an honor to get to have you today. You and I have talked a couple times over the past few weeks, and I just had to have you on because you are a good Christian and you are in showbiz, and I could not help myself. I had to have you on. So thank you
Well,
so much.
well, thanks so much for recognizing that. So many cases the two don't go hand in hand, and I've kind of managed to make it through my career with being a Christian and a good all around guy and producing moral fibered programming and having a good time doing it and still stayed true to my school.
Absolutely. Now, as we get started, why don't you begin by just telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the questions.
Yeah, I did not go to drama school or theatrical school when I was growing up. I was a business major and kind of went through that whole platform of being a young entrepreneur, starting businesses at 14, 15 years old and working and did the whole business thing. And so as I kind of got up in my years, I think, maybe 22. I thought to myself, wow, I should think about what I really want to do when I grow up. And as I kind of proceeded down the path, I think maybe 24, 25, 26. I told this story to one of our other producers a couple of days ago, and I just said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Hollywood and be an actor," and lo and behold, that's what I did.
Right
I
on.
spent 20 years in Hollywood, a nice little tour of duty there, and just kind of threw my hands up in the air and said, I can't take this LA thing anymore. I gotta go someplace else, and I ended up in Las Vegas, and it's been a great jump. Uh, Producing, directing, and starring in different programs and shows, and now I'm kind of sort of nearing the end of the journey. I'm ready to kind of pull the curtain slowly down and bring on some partners, some investors, and move to the next level of my legacy.
That is beautiful. That is a fascinating story. I don't like we've talked. I don't think you told me you did too much on the business side. So that, I love it because that's kind of my career path as well. I started off in the business or in law and then business consulting, and so now here I am in the faith. And um, so you and I talked a little bit about the purpose of my show, and the purpose of my show is to help save lives. If we can show some man somewhere out there that he should save his life by not committing suicide by finding the Lord, this will all have been worth it. And I like to start my interviews with what I think is a simple question, but some people seem to have trouble with it. So I'm going to ask you, Jon, what does it mean to be a man?
Well, I think you could start by saying and I choose my words carefully here, the opposite of being a woman. And being a man, I think we have to take responsibility, as the Bible tells us. We need to take leadership. We need to take control. We need to mentor. We need to teach, and we need to sort of be an example in life of the way that our wife and our children and the people that look up to us are going to lead their lives, kind of leading through example. And so I think, I think men need to be strong, but they also need to be loving and caring. I think men need to be strong and they need to be protective, but not using that strength to maybe do evil things and things that are not so nice. And I think that men also need to realize that it's not all about us. There's other people around, and keep that in mind as well.
So that goes to the water park I was telling you about just before we got on, right?
Yeah.
All right. I love that answer. So then let's move on to the faith aspect of it, because You brought that up a little bit when you were discussing what it means to be a man. But why is faith so important? Why do men need faith in their life?
Well, I think if nothing else, um, you need you have to understand you can't do this, you shouldn't do this on your own. You need
Mm.
somebody standing on your shoulder, if you will, standing with you, someone that you can turn to who's more important than you are, and every now and then just say, "Hey, I need some help with this one. What's going on here?" And I think having faith accomplishes that. Also, kind of gives you a constant daily reminder of it's just not all about me. There's other things and people around me that are, believe it or not, probably more important than me. So know your role, know the direction you can go in, and know that you're going to have a little help on the way.
I love it. I also notice when my guests give nice, short, succinct answers, you clearly have media training. And in this case, you are the media, so you definitely have media training.
Oops, I guess I'm guilty as charged.
Oh, it's all good. It's just going to mean I'm going to have to ask you more questions about your TV studio here at the end. So, um, let's talk about Jesus, because when I looked at my audience, 160,000 plus people, saw that it was 80% men, 18 to 35, and I asked myself, what is going on in their life? I found the statistic that 80% of suicides are men. And I knew that the reasons they gave me, that they are lonely, they feel rejected by society, and they feel they don't have a purpose in life, that all of those can be solved by having a relationship with Jesus. So I'd like to ask you, Jon, from your perspective, how can we help men develop that relationship with him?
Well, I think first of all we've got to give them the opportunity. We've got so many opportunities out there to go in the wrong direction,
Mm.
which are majorly the forefront of what young men are learning as they're growing up, and so it's that constant pounding that we take. Of course, being a member of the media, I know that business, and it's kind of one of those things where, in advertising and marketing, we say, um, say it loud, say it often, and say it again, and pretty soon someone's going to believe it. And unfortunately, you know, there's um, there's so many reasons that we don't stop and think about. We just get kind of shoveled into that wheelbarrow and ridden down the road. So I think we need to tell our mission maybe a little more often, and provide that opportunity for men to say, hey, I am confused. I don't know where to go, and I don't think I should get this tattoo of a cactus on my back because of whatever reason I thought of today, or I don't think I should go take somebody's car away from them because I don't want to take the bus. Or we don't tell that message enough, I think. And in our business of media and television, we can tell that message. And we were talking in our group, our Media Fellowship
Mhm.
International group, the other day, about how we're starting to see more of those vehicles come out in terms of films and documentaries and things of that nature. I think that's going to help.
Absolutely. I was actually just recording this morning one of my episodes for the week, and I was talking about how you had the Andy Griffith Show back in the day, and the father was the wise mentor. He was caring, he was loving, but also stern. And now, today we have The Simpsons, and we have, ABC's Modern Family, and we have all these shows where the dad's a doofy guy who, like, yeah, it's clear he loves his family, but he's not that bright, he's not that clever. And like, what happened? Like, was there just a memo that got sent out, and all media need to change, all dads are dummies, or like what happened there?
I think that's a good part of it, from the media, kind of saying to us, turn in your dad card,
Mhm.
turn in your man card. And I think, in the relationships that I've had, it's kind of like, you know, yeah, you can make the decisions, but ultimately, um, we've got to do this together. We've got to make the right decisions, not because of whatever control or let's go on this campaign where giraffes can rule the world and we need to look up to them. Of course we do, but in a certain sense. And so I think that's the whole thing, is that it needs to be okay to be a dad. It needs to be okay to be a man and understand that we're vulnerable, but we're also respective, and we can learn something new. The old dog can learn a new trick. Woof.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Because I'm making content like that. You said you're trying to focus your content and the media that you're producing to be good, wholesome content. Is that enough? Are we making a dent?
I think it's a start, and as I told you at the beginning of this show, I'm trying now to build my legacy. I'm trying to basically sell my company, sell the network, or bring on partners, investors, if you will. And the prerequisite is you don't have to have television broadcast experience. I will teach you that. So it could be a family, it could be a dad, if you will, that wants to build a legacy for their children, and come and learn a new craft, if you will, and in that process learn how to produce good quality television that sends a message of hope, a message of love, a message of honesty, and instead of highlighting the bad in our world, we can kind of look at the good of things and enjoy what we do at the same time.
On that note, I was just remembering a story you told this last Thursday about how you were trying to put together a show by finding what was good in the news. And
Yeah,
so, you mind telling that one real quick?
yeah. It was because I'm a newscaster in the number one city in the world, in Los Angeles. I would sit in front of a television camera and basically tell people the news, and it seemed like inherently so. It was news that didn't have a very good edge to it. It was always something bad: car wrecks, fires, murders, robberies, blah 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 blah. In our industry, they say, if it bleeds, it leads, and it's kind of a wrong message right there in itself. And so through the years, I now left Hollywood. I moved to Las Vegas and still doing television and radio. And I thought to myself, why don't I come up with this brilliant idea of this show called Only the Good News? And so I thought, all right, for my first show, I'm going to do out of the gate, very first radio show, Only the Good News, starring Jon Fondy, where we bring the best of the news and the best of the world, and rah, 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 let's tell the good news. So I grabbed our local newspaper here, and I went through the local newspaper page by page. I kept turning the pages, and I thought, well, I'll just write down the stories that are the good news and just repurpose those again for my first show. I got to the end of the newspaper, and Bradford, I had two stories. And I really didn't have two stories. I had one good news story, and the other story was because it wasn't necessarily bad news. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is not right, because Las Vegas in particular has got some great stories to tell, but nobody tells those stories. Well, guess what, man? You and I could tell those stories.
Yeah.
The people that mentor around us, those 18 to 35-year-old people, come to us, man. Come to us if you want to change in your life and you need purpose. I'll give you purpose, because there's nothing like getting up tomorrow and going, what am I going to do today? You look at your cell phone calendar and you go, oh man, I'm producing a television show today. This is awesome. I'm heading over to UNLV. I'm going to work with Jon Fondy and his team, and I'm going to produce a television show. this is awesome, and it kind of leads into my story, the way I got started in the business. People think, oh, you started, directing, you started producing, you were a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's like, nope. My first job in this business, the director told me, go outside and clean up the parking lot.
I
And
love it.
that's how I got started in the business. But I had purpose, and look where I am today.
Yeah, the quintessential coffee boy, huh?
I didn't even get to do coffee. I had to go outside in the dirt and the mud and the muck and start cleaning this parking lot. So I didn't have the privilege of being a coffee boy.
All right. But I'll tell you, you gave me an idea while you were telling your story there, John. We need to start a new newswire for just good news.
Well, yeah,
I
why
think there'd be a
not?
market for it. The human
Well,
interest stories.
I'm looking at the guy right now I think could do it. You're excellent on camera, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's the hair. All right. Let's say I got one more question before we kind of start moving toward the end here. Let's say that someone's out there struggling, John, and they have heard of Jesus. They've heard of all this, and they know. And when they go and talk to people, it always sounds gloom and doom. Everything's hell and fire and brimstone, and they're not certain about Christianity. They're not certain about this, but they know they need something. What can you and I do in order to help that individual find the way?
Um, I think I don't think we can do that. But I think we need to be the vehicle to help start that journey.
Okay.
Be available for it, and then be available as that journey grows. Kind of like we do every week at MFI.
Mhm.
We're available, and so I think just having a couple of Tim's tracks in our back pocket. Someone
I
might
got one,
be
I got one right here.
there you go. Kind of we see somebody that's struggling. They sitting in front of a grocery store with a sign, or standing alongside the freeway with a sign or something, and just like what I do is I attach $1 to a track and hand it to them and say, hey, there's a number on the back of this. If you need some help, just call that number. And just kind of doing something as simple as that, and then being available when God tells us, I need you in a certain place at a certain time. Don't question it. Just go there, and then be quiet, be silent, and listen to what the next step may be, and just be available. Because I know that maybe that won't happen today for me. I may be out in the backyard pulling weeds, and so it may not happen today, but it might happen twice tomorrow. And being available for it, having those tools, and of course, staying focused. Just if nothing else, a few minutes a day, ground ourselves. Start the day with the Lord, and say, Jesus, point me in the right direction, because I'm here for you. That might be a good start right there.
Absolutely. I mean, there truly is power in prayer. I was just sitting down last night with my wife last night, and I had a question about my show, like, how am I going to develop this a little bit further? And my wife's like, we need to pray on it. And within 3 seconds, a name came to us. And we're like, well, there you go. And that's sometimes how it works. God really wants to help us. He really does. All right.
Yes.
Beautiful. John, this has been a fantastic interview. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share before we wrap it up?
I don't think necessarily final thoughts, but maybe, as I said before, that with the Las Vegas Television Network, we built it with purpose in mind, and it is a vessel, it's a vehicle. So if somebody does want to get involved, they can start with us. They can start with us. There no credentials required. Scars accepted. And come on and look into being part of this network. Buy this network. Bring your friends in, and make some television shows, because I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, which is creating good television, and focusing on the good news. And I think we'll leave it at that, Bradford.
All
Thanks so
right.
much for having me.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. How can people get in touch with you if you want to, John?
I think probably the best thing is you can go to info at Vegas TV Production, our website, the Las Vegas Television Network.com. You can actually click on the little button and watch our TV shows right now if you want to. And there's phone numbers and stuff to get in touch with us. In most cases, I'm one click away from answering the phone. So you get to talk to the real guy.
Beautiful. All right, Jon Fondy, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate you coming on and spending time with us and sharing your wisdom with us today. Thank you.
Hey, I hope it was good for you guys. I enjoyed it as well. Hey, I'll see you Thursday.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, keep looking for the light in the tempest. God will show you the way.